I have a lot of respect for his background, and he called me early in my time here to ask about a game, and I have a lot of respect for what they did at St. Bonaventure. And before that, Robert Morris, because he worked with Mark Schmidt, and I thought the St. Bonaventure program epitomized maxing out their talent, unique style of play, playing really fast and aggressive, and doing it in a really good league. So when he took over the job and asked, I thought it was a good opportunity for us. Smith is a phenomenal scorer. Scored 23 points a game last year. In their first game, he took 21 shots. He's very, very active with the ball. They've got a relatively new team, it looks like, and they're trying to find their way and the way that they want to play. I think they're really good in penetration. When they're moving the ball, they're hard to deal with. And we've just got to focus on, in a game like this, we're not going to overdo the preparation of trying to get ready for everything that they do. What's so important right now, because we're going through it in practice, we think a lot, right? We think an awful lot because we're trying to give them a lot of different things. And I say that, and we're way behind in so many areas based on where we would want to be in an optimal way when it comes to our X's and O's. So the last thing I want to do tomorrow is worry about what we don't have in and over worry or be concerned about all the different things that the team does. They have some things that they do that we want to make sure we get ready for. And I think that's the most important thing for us right now. Some things with personnel, some things with play. And at the end of the day, really just go out and have them play as instinctive as they can. And hopefully we make a jump based on the last time that we played against UAB, especially with taking care of the ball. That was really a game of two halves for us. And that happens a lot. It happens during the season. It happens, you don't want it happening at the end of the season. But it truly is going to happen a lot at the beginning of the season. We want to be more consistent with the ball tomorrow. We want to be more consistent on the glass. We want to be more consistent not only with moving the ball, but with moving without the ball. I thought that picked up a little bit. And again, getting these guys to really have a feel for how to read the ball and play off their man. It's a lot easier said than done. But that's what we're working towards, and that's really what we'd like to have happen tomorrow, for us.
You were talking the other day about one of the things the team is really having a hard time, I guess, working through is going downhill and attacking the basket and creating shots. Is that an area tomorrow you hope to see some improvement in?
Well, that's going to be an ongoing thing, because you want to be able to downhill for us, and it's one of the reasons we have the 4-point line down. That's 33 feet away. It's one of the reasons we have the NBA line down. When we played against UAB, the fact that those lines weren't on the floor and the fact of where we wanted to be in the corners, it really showed up. Eventually when you work at it long enough, you don't need those lines on the court. First off, they're not allowed, but second of all, you don't need them. And we're just not there yet. So really, the nuances of getting a little bit higher, staying in the corners, reading how you're being played, getting downhill without a ball screen. And here's another big part of it. Understanding that getting downhill, if you've got one man to beat to get to the rim, go. But anything other than that, the ball's got to be kicked. It's got to be dropped off. It's got to be kicked out. And the other part of it, and we're really behind in the ball screen game, is understanding the ball screen is to get the game moving. It's to get that possession going. And point guard play for us is really about who's getting the offense started. Because everybody that would play the point, if they're going to play for us moving forward with any consistency, they've got to be able to shoot, they've got to be able to score. But you don't initially want that right off the beginning. And I think we still think that the downhill, and we still think at times the ball screen is for us to try to make a play rather than for us to play and make plays for others. So in answer to your question, it's going to be kind of a mix and match, see how that goes, read the game. And I think we're learning every day, without getting too technical with this, that we've got a lot of different things that we're trying to do, but it's got to morph into things that they're comfortable with early as we continue to grow during the season. I don't think it's going to be any shock to me that we'll improve a lot as the year goes on. We'll add more as the year goes on. And it will probably get better, with being able to understand those things as the year goes on. And right now it's a balancing act between me pushing them and the coaches pushing them to be accountable for different things right now rather than just running plays, and them being able to get it and be able to play at a game speed. And now that we're in games, be able to play at that game speed even better.
offensively? I mean, is there anything particular you're looking for in terms of maybe shot selection or anything like that?
Ball movement. Ball movement and body movement. I thought in the first half against UAB, we passed the ball well. We didn't look for a shot. If anything, right now, we're not looking for the 3 off driving kick nearly enough. Now, we're not looking to create 3-point shots. This is not a team, and even my best teams had shot makers. They had guys that could create. We didn't have a lot of guys that when they're trying to create shots for themselves. They're trying to create plays for others, which turn into shots for themselves. But we've got to really make sure that we're getting open shots. The best threes come when you hit that paint and penetration and you get it kicked out. They come off offensive boards, and they come on ball reversals. So how can we get more of that? And how can we cut more without the ball in a random way, in a cerebral way, rather than just a set play call? That's where the morphing right now comes. Like, okay, we got a season here. We got a bunch of games coming up after tomorrow night. How do we make our adjustments to play the games and at the same time keep building our system for the long term?
How important are the guards in the type of up-tempo offense that you want to play, and how have you seen them adjust?
Decision making is so important, and they're going to have their hands in the ball. But again, as we build it, we're really trying to work in a positionless way. Now that doesn't mean everybody has to rebound the ball on the defensive end for us. Everybody has to pass the ball on the offensive end for us. Everybody's got to run back and forth defensively. Other than that, right, it's a lot of ball movement. It's a lot of body movement. We're not as much into, well, this is your role just yet. You know, those kind of things haven't really come alive yet. We're trying to help guys understand this is a good move. This is not a good move. This is where the kick needs to be made, making their decision making in quick, fast, real time. But in answer to your question, we had too many turnovers the first game against UAB. We were trying to make plays that weren't there, and frankly, we were not nearly strong enough with the ball, which means two things. Our practices hadn't been aggressive enough on one another, and we're still not to a point where it's just all out scrimmaging yet. When you're trying to teach a lot of different things, there's going to be some stops, and the last thing you want is a ton of slippage when you play. So you've kind of got to let them get through it. You know, I like to do things in a way where we're going 4-on-0, 5-on-0, then we're going against a scout team, our managers, and then we're going against each other. And that takes some time because you want them to get their confidence without a play rather than having everything disrupted defensively. But that's no excuse for us not taking care of the ball better. So everybody's important in this, and that's not a coaching cliche. It's really the truth. But our guys have got to do a better job of delivering the ball on time, on target, delivering it with velocity and strength, and making simple plays for others.
What are you hoping to see from Ty Fagan this season?
This season? I just think continued improvement. Moving better without the ball, looking for his 3 more, and simpler decisions in the lane, not over-penetrating. You know, the guards are learning there's a lot of freedom, but we don't want reckless. And reckless becomes when you drive into a crowd, okay, and try to make a play, rather than draw a crowd and make a pass, right? And that's what we've got to learn how to do as much as anything else. We over-penetrate too many times right now. We're not strong enough with the ball. And you asked about, did you ask about Tyree Crump or Ty Fagan? Oh man, I'm giving you Tyree Crump. I could really say all of them. Ty Fagan is the same thing. Keep improving, have confidence. Did I misunderstand? Did you say Fagan or did you say Crump?
Fagan.
Man, I misunderstood. I'm sorry. But both of them have got to look for their shot more. Both of them have got to do a better job of moving out the ball. Ty Fagan has got to be a tremendous defensive player, guarding numerous people and rebounder. Tyree Crump has got to be better at holding down the fort with who he's defending at the top or when we're in a switching game, and he's got to look for his 3 more. So you got 2 answers for 1. I'm sorry.
Two's better than 1.
Ty was saying that he's the guy that he wants to shoulder the challenge of being a leader, basically, even though he's a freshman. You know, what goes through your mind?
We need a group of leaders. Yeah, I'm not sure. I appreciate that, and he's trying. You need a team of leaders, just like you need a team of starters. And you don't need teams that just have 5 starters. Like, I've done it. We went to the Final Four with that, but it helps when you got 3 pros in there, and Dwayne Wade's one of them. I mean, you can get away with it. But my best teams had 7, 8 guys that we could start easy and not skip a beat. And I think it's the same thing with the leadership. I don't look out there and say, okay, this is the one guy. That's the guy, right? Because, again, the old saying is you can elect captains, but you can't appoint leaders. Leaders come out right? And I think it's your consistency that brings a lot of that. I think it's how you handle tough times. I think it's how you go through adversity. I think it's how much you can support your teammates when it's not going well for you. And I think part of that consistency is how well you compete, okay, when you're tired, and like I said, when it's not going well for you, but when you're fatigued, that's when the examples of leadership come out the best, and that's when the respect for each other really grows. And Ty Fagan wants that, and those are the kind of things that he's got to do because he's a pure winner. And he's come in here with a very good pedigree of winning. But he's also a freshman. And us to over-expect really anything out of this team, but especially the freshmen right now, when you're going through change like we're going through, would not be realistic. But helping them grow into that is what we want the reality to be.
You've obviously got a laundry list of things you're still working on.
Oh, yeah.
What are just one or two things that you want to see progress from the UAB game to this next exhibition?
Consistent rebounding and better decision making with the ball. Not trying to make plays that aren't there, A, and being much stronger with the ball, B, hand in hand. But those are the biggest things.
And then as far as the lineup, you ended up going big there at UAB. I know you're an up-tempo kind of guy, but could that big look be something that we could see?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think if we don't rebound the ball better, we're not going to be as much of a three-guard lineup. Now I say that, and it's October 31st, right? So that's where we stand today. But that is a concern now. I mean, it's absolutely that we are rebounding it on both ends. You know, we're going to send 3 and 4 guys to the offensive glass on the offensive end. All 5 have got to be active rebounders on the defensive end. All 5. And if you can't, you're going to hurt you can't run without the defensive board. You know, we want to be able to run off makes, but we want to be able to run off misses. And to skip that step of the outlet with having a guard get the rebound or having somebody that can bust out and get it. Nick Claxton busts out and takes it. Those things will be good for us. But that's the most important thing, I think, for us in that area. And being able to mix the lineups in games like this in practices is really, really important. Like, I'll look back at a practice, and if I played the same lineup together twice in practice, that's not good. We've got to mix it up even more so we have more things we can view and study and then look for combinations. And the games help provide you a look at combinations.
Will you do that again, that line change like you did at UAB? I think you did 5, and then...
I don't know. You know, I think right now it's still by feel. Are guys starting to play better where I would say, okay, somebody will have to move him out of the lineup? Yes. But are guys playing so well that they couldn't be moved out of a lineup? No. Right? So I think it's still, to me, the one thing we have is we have bodies. We have potential depth. Now, I learned this a long time ago, too. You don't have depth without toughness, and you don't have depth without consistency. Okay? All you then have bodies, right? And we've got to have more than that. We've got to have the level of, you know, the physical play and the mental toughness that goes into it, and we've certainly got to have consistency in that. And if we get that, and we can potentially bring pressure and fatigue to the game, that serves this team well. Because this is not a team that you look at and say, okay, there's just 7 or 8 guys we're going to count on all year. First off, that's not how you, in my mind, that's not how you win big. But at the end of the day, we've got a lot of guys that have got to develop. And the court right now is an opportunity for them to see how they mesh with others, how they make other people better. And hopefully, our depth becomes a strong suit for us as we move forward. But it's still too early to tell on that.
Nick was talking about how he's had to adjust to playing more on the wing, more outside. How's he coming along in that?
Oh, I don't think he minds. I don't think he didn't say that with a frown on his face, did he?
Oh,
No. He's a skilled young man. He's getting better, and the biggest thing for him is, I mean, he didn't have a turnover against UAB, I don't believe, and the biggest thing for him, he's got to rebound both ends, right? And that's the thing now when we're on the perimeter and moving around, and we're 4 around 1 or we're 5 out, and you have to rebound the ball. Right, that is for anybody, this is not just a Nick thing, but for anybody on the team, if you don't have deep responsibility in transition, you got to get to the offensive glass. Because we don't just throw it, Yante's not there to just make sure that you're getting that low post bucket and those free throws, right? And so we've got to make sure that we're stealing buckets on boards, we're stealing buckets on cuts, we're getting second and third shot attempts. And Nick's a big part of that, but there's no question his skill level's going up. Like they all are, and I would put Ray in the same category. You know, those two, the more we can play those two together, and they can play with so many different guys, the better it's going to be for our team long term. and we're right in the midst of figuring that out.
With this long list of things to work on, are you
Well, we didn't even touch that list, so.
Are you satisfied with the improvement this team has made, and do you think they're prepared for the games today?
No, you know, I don't think you're satisfied and happy and content. Those are four-letter words to coaches. At least to me they are, right? No, I don't think you coach like that. I think what I've learned over a period of time, especially when you take over a new situation, you don't want to be too patient, right? Like, I want to make sure with them, I mean with them, we want to push them and demand from them and really force the concentration and focus that they've got to have to pick things up and to play through fatigue, because that's what the game is. But I think as you grow as a coach and then you get into a situation like this, you got to keep perspective. So like I work behind closed doors, you know, with the staff when I'm watching film to have some perspective on where we're at. But as far as walking out there happy, content, impressed, no, not really. I mean, I like the guys, put it that way. I mean, this is not, I don't mean it in a negative way at all. I love working with them, but I think there's a lot of room to grow. In the moment, you know, the last thing you want as a coach is for to back off and them to feel some kindness for a weakness, right? No, we got to get better. I mean, this is a league. I mean, we're picked 13th in this league. All right, there's nothing to walk in there and feel like we've had any arrival moment at any point in time. But you want them to make sure, and this is the key thing, and this is what I think I hope is the crux of our coaching. You want them to consistently feel like they're getting better. You want them to be able to know by what you show them, what you tell them, what they see that they're getting better. But at the same time, you never ever back away from pushing and demanding more of them than they think they have in them when it comes to their improvement. And that makes me happy. You know, when you see that, when you see guys get better, but it's short-lived, because once you see them get better, you're right on to helping them grow in something else.
Any other questions?
All right. Thanks. See you guys. Thank you.